Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope you're well. So in today's video you join me back at home. Now don't worry, we're not here for very long. I just had to sort out a few things, pick up my new lens that we're going to talk about in this video, send off my film to get developed. Now that went off yesterday. I dropped that off in the city, so that should be back with me either by sometime this week or early next week, which will be great, and that video would be live by now, so I will link to that up above. And I'll also link it at the end of this video for you to watch and enjoy. I really enjoyed doing that video, and yeah, we got out with the Bronica ETR 645 medium format film camera, and yeah, it was a really nice morning down at the Franklin River Retreat. So getting new front tyres for my car. The old ones weren't ideal for winter conditions when it was very cold and raining. So yeah, and where we're going to be going in the next week's video, which will be down at the Stirling Range. Yeah, it felt like I didn't have much grip on the front, so yeah, I wasn't confident in my tyres. They just went through too many heat cycles and went a bit hard. So yeah, I want to talk about the new lens that I purchased, but before I talk about that lens, I want to talk about the lens that I'm replacing. So this is the Canon 70-200 f4 LIS. This is an absolutely stunning lens. When I got it, at first I didn't think it was going to be any good, but this has just blown me away. The image quality. Now, if you don't know, yeah, if you're watching my channel for the first time, this is your first video you've seen from my channel. I used to be a medium format shooter, Hasselblad, and the optical performance of that glass was superb. And this lens is not far off. Yeah, you're only limited by the camera you use, really. So I've got the 5D Mark IV now, which is, I really enjoy using this, and it's a fabulous camera. Yeah, so yeah, this lens is just superb. Really nice manual focus. It is to make fine adjustments. I wish I had a bit more throw in it, but it works really nicely. Autofocus is bang on. Now this isn't a review of the lens, I just wanted to give you a bit of an insight into it. Yeah, zoom ring is very, very smooth. If anything, it feels a little bit too loose for me, but that's just the way it is, you know. There's hardly any glass in this lens, so why does it need to be stiff to move? And it's actually really nice if you're a sports photographer, being able to zoom very easily. I remember when I was a motorsports photographer and I had my Canon 70-200 f2.8 LIS2. The zoom ring used to be a little bit stiff, and on long days when you're zooming in and out, your fingers tended to get quite sore, especially if you're shooting for 6 or 8 hours constantly. So yeah, with this lens, I can't see that being a problem at all. I'm also expecting a delivery today. I've got some filters, which I'm going to make my own mist filters, and I'm going to do a video on that and see how we go, and I'll take you out on location. So yeah, looking forward to that one. But yeah, back to the lens. I got distracted there. So yeah, but the problem I'm having with this lens, it's nothing to do with image quality. It's nothing to do with how the lens performs. Autofocus is really fast and accurate. I'm just struggling on reach. And when I got this lens, I thought it was going to be ideal, but I also had an inkling that I would probably need something with a bit more reach. So that's the reason why I went for buying a 1.4. So that allows this lens to be a 98 to a 280mm, which I thought was going to be adequate. But there's been times when I went back to the Stirling Range and I'd done a bit of a recce, and I wanted to see if I had enough reach, because that was one of the factors in buying the next lens. And yeah, I went up halfway up Bluff Knoll and shot over the I was going to say canopy, but that's definitely not the word. I shot over the ranges and shot towards one of the mountains way off in the distance, and 200mm was not enough. I think even if I put the 1.4 on, it wouldn't, you know, that extra 80mm wouldn't have really made much of a difference. And yeah, anyway, I'll show the image up on the screen. So I heavily cropped this, probably about by 2 times, just to give me an idea for the new lens. And I also done an enhancing, so yeah, trying to get a bit more clarity out of that. It was a nice image anyway, just having, it was at sunrise, so the sun was still in its early stages of rising, and we had these lovely clouds, these lovely low clouds drifting over the scene, which was really, really nice. So yeah, but yeah, another thing about like this lens, the stability factor. So the lens collar on here isn't the best. Now this is a generic one, but I do know the Canon one wouldn't be any real difference to it. They don't really clamp down too hard, and as you can hear, there's a bit of a wobble. So that's definitely not ideal. So I never really used this. I don't think I actually used this lens foot. I only used it on the camera and then used the L bracket. But there is a bit of flex in that, and that's a bit of an issue. So if you're shooting at 200mm and you're doing long exposures, and I love my long exposures and I love using longer focal lengths, yeah, you'll tend to, if it's windy, you'll see that movement, and it won't show up as sort of blurry. It will show up as there's like more on like edges where there's contrast. You'll see that little shift, and that's what I don't want, and that's basically ruins the image. I think that's it. So the only thing is the reach, and that being the main thing that I was struggling with. But anyway, I've sold this lens already, and I'm going to be going out and getting a box for it very shortly after this video, and send it off to its new home somewhere over east. So this brings me nicely on to my new lens, which is this, the Canon 100-400 f4.5 to 5.6 LIS2. This lens has had so much, people have raved about this lens so much in the photography world for being so sharp, probably being one of the sharpest lenses Canon has produced, at least in the zoom range, before the RF. But this was the sharpest Canon 100-400 there has been, and yeah, it is a monster, but it's not that much bigger in lengthwise. Now this does zoom. Now doesn't have an internal zoom like the 100-400, so that remains the same size throughout. So this does get a little longer, but I don't really mind that, and I know the sealing around this will be good as well. It's definitely beats the old one where you used to have to push pull, and it used to be considered a dust pump. But yeah, I think this one will. I wonder if there's a bit more. Let's see. I'll put my hand over the back and see if it. Yeah, there is a little bit of airflow there, but not much at all, to be honest. It's just normal. So yeah, sure, this lens will get a little bit dusty over time, just like any zoom lens, to be honest. What I like about this is the sharpness, but mainly we've got that lovely range from 100 to 400mm. And when I put the 1.4 time on, it allows this lens to be 140mm to 560mm, which is so much range. I haven't had that much range since I was thinking about this the other day. I haven't had that much range since I was a motorsports photographer. I had my 300mm f2.8 LIS, and I put a 1.4 on it with my 1DX. I'll show a photo on the screen of that. I love that rig, and I do miss it. But yeah, I didn't really need it for what I was doing. So yeah, this is going to be far better, and I can have a go a bit with some bird photography, wildlife photography, and that will allow me to actually use this gimbal by Pro Media Gear. And the link to that can be found below. And now that is an affiliation link. I'm an ambassador for Pro Media Gear. Yeah, so I'll be able to use this lens on the gimbal, and it's nicely balanced as well. And yeah, use a 1.4 on it, and maybe even have a go at some motorsports photography with it. We'll see, yeah, open up to possibilities. It doesn't just have to be landscapes. I'd want it to be mainly landscapes, focus on that. But it'd be nice to have some other stuff to break up the norm. Since, yeah, I used to be a professional motorsports photographer. And it'd be nice to have a go and seeing what I could produce today, just for a bit of fun. So yeah, the lens collar on this is also basically, the collar on this is manufactured into it, so you can't actually take it off. The only way of taking it off, or taking the part of it off, is by removing the lens foot. But it's just so solid and easy to rotate. All I do is to undo this knob a little bit, and then I can rotate the lens around, and it's really nice and smooth. You can feel that there's very little movement in that. The IS as well on this lens is superb. The autofocus is superb, even with the 1.4 time. Now you might be wondering, with the 1.4 time and it's making a minimum aperture of f8, especially on the long lens, especially on the long, at 400mm. Now that isn't really too much of a problem, but what you do lose is you lose focus points. It won't be to the edge of the frame, it will be more towards the center and a few just to the left and the right. That's what I found on my 1DX. The newer cameras, the R series, like the R5, it might be a little different, but I'm not too sure, since I haven't actually tried it on that lens. So yeah, also, yeah, a nice little feature which I like is on the lens hood, there's this little slot here, which I can just lift up, and if I just want to, I've got a circular polarizing filter on there, I can just put my finger through, adjust the polarizing filter, and pull that back down. Now you might be wondering, well, why would I be doing that? You know, why would I have the hood on at all? Well, if I'm shooting way off in the distance and maybe it could be raining, a light amount of rain, the lens hood will keep the front element and front of the lens nice and dry. Also, the lens hood helps with contrast. So it works the same as, you know, you're on a sunny day or outside and you put your hand over your you know, in front of your eyes, and you'll notice how much more detail you'll be able to see. The same goes for using your lens hood. So yeah, and it also is a great way of protecting the front element, because a UV filter can only do so much, and some filters, I don't use filters on my lenses, UVs, unless it's for, you know, if I'm shooting film. And I will be using film with this. I've got one of my old cameras which I will be able to use and have a go at that. And I've got some rolls of film still left over from when I sold my Leica. Yeah, so it is about twice the weight as well of the 70-200. But to be honest, I can make that compromise because I know what this will allow me to do. And yeah, I was thinking about keeping the 70-200 around, but to be honest, I'm keeping it around and then going out and using it on location if I want to go nice and lightweight. But I think there would be times when I would go, I wish I had my 100 or 400, because I just need that little bit more reach. The main thing is reach. Reach has been my problem, and this will allow me to get so many more things and open up the door to other possibilities as well. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to head off now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel, helps with the algorithm and everything. If you'd like to see more videos, be sure to subscribe. And if you've got any questions or you'd like to say anything, pop it down in the comment section and I'll do my very best to get back to you. Anyway, I'm Simon and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, bye for now.